Welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. It's a pleasure to have you with us. I'm reminding you to keep hydrated and drink lots of fluids, like water or a few jelly coconuts, as the summer heat is on. Don't forget your sunscreen or moisturizer if you will be on the outside for a while, as all skin types are prone to sunburn and skin cancer. Stay with us. We have lots in store for you between the pages.
You've asked for it, and now it's here. The Jamaica Information Service has updated its mobile app. It's easier to navigate, loads even faster than before, talking about top speed, operates seamlessly across platforms, and we're a creative bunch, so it's much easier on the eyes. Now you have quick and easy access to news stories, television and radio features, and a variety of photos right at your fingertips. And you'll get push notifications when new content is uploaded. Download the app on your Apple and Android devices now and get news you can use. Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica on the go.
Up next, the latest figures and control measures regarding COVID-19.
I am seeing where there is a sense of complacency setting in, where people somehow are of the view that the pandemic is over. That is not the case, and I want to take this opportunity to, again, appeal to our Jamaicans to remember, observe the measures, wear your mask, do your hand sanitizing, do your social distancing, and just be very careful about your personal health and your own interactions. The pandemic is not over, as you would see in countries that are close to us, that their numbers are rising significantly. And it is, aside from the good management that we have given to the pandemic, but a lot has to do with your own personal responsibility and your faithfulness and consistency in observing the measures. And that has ensured that we have kept our numbers here low. We are now at 698 cases. I believe, Minister Tufton, we have had 2 new cases today. The green line that you are now seeing shows that we have had 553 persons who have recovered from COVID-19. The final line in this graph, which is the blue line, shows the number of active cases, that is the number of persons who still have the virus. Our recovery rate is now somewhere in the region of 79.2%. Now, the second graph would show the effect of controlled re-entry, that is the new numbers that we have brought in. The dashed purple line shows the number of cases excluding the positive cases from persons arriving under the controlled re-entry program. So in other words, if we didn't have the controlled re-entry program starting from somewhere around the 1st of June, that would be our numbers, 535 thereabout. But of course, that is not an option for us. We must bring home our Jamaicans. That is just for illustrative purposes to see that if there were no re-entry, that our curve would be essentially flat, which would mean that we have essentially brought under control the spread of the virus locally. Now, curfews. the day to next day, night to early morning curfews will continue in place, starting now at 11 p.m. on the night of June 30th, 2020, to 5 a.m. July 1, 2020, day to day, until 5 a.m. on the morning of July 31st, 2020. Licensed public passenger transport, whether or not they're state or privately operated, are allowed 1 hour after the end of curfew. So as of Wednesday night, July 1, that will now be between 11 p.m. and 12 midnight until the 31st of July 2020, and they will be allowed to travel home from their last passenger drop-off, and they would have 1 hour before the beginning of curfews. That would be between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. until July 31st, 2020, to travel to their first passenger pickup. Of course, no passenger must be transported in their vehicles during the additional 1 hour periods allowed for transport operators to travel to and from their homes. In terms of gatherings, gatherings are not to exceed 20 persons, and this will apply up to July 14th, 2020. In terms of the operating hours of markets and vending in public arcades and public transportation centers, these will now be as follows. Mondays to Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. You will recall that they were Mondays to Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have now added an additional hour. Markets will remain closed on Sundays. In terms of zoos and parks, the opening hours are now 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for zoos. And for parks, including theme parks, this would be 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Note that water parks and attractions remain closed. Now, daycare and nurseries. This is a big issue. We spent some time last week discussing them. The Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of Education, and we are expecting that by our next press conference, we should be able to have some protocols as to how we would treat with the reopening of daycare nurseries. Very important as people go back to work. And now I want to give you an update on the controlled re-entry of Jamaicans. The latest number from the JamCOVID site and the Visit Jamaica site, this would be, we have processed now approximately 31,000 applications for Jamaicans and visitors who want to come to Jamaica. 23,000 are residents, meaning Jamaicans who are coming back home, and non-Jamaicans who live in Jamaica. And 8,000 are non-residents, visitors, tourists. Approximately 14,600 persons have arrived in Jamaica since we have put in the controlled re-entry program. 9,300 are residents, meaning Jamaicans who live here and non-Jamaicans who reside here. And 5,300 are non-residents, meaning tourists, Jamaicans who are visiting, and non-Jamaicans who are Jamaicans who come here to visit. Now, an additional 15,000 persons have been approved to travel. 12,400 are residents, meaning Jamaicans and non-Jamaicans who reside here, and 2,600 are non-residents. So in that number would be some tourists who would be coming, or most of that number would be tourists. Now, during June, we had an average of 5 flights and about 410 passengers arriving per day. For July, our projections are, well, these are not projections. These are what we expect by virtue of the flight schedules that we are now seeing. We're going to be expecting an average of 22 flights and 1,680 passengers per day. So as of July 1, 2020, we will still require testing for controlled entry. However, since the commencement of controlled re-entry on June 1, we now have the benefit of testing for over a month, and we now know the positive rate, 0.7%. Therefore, we can now reconfigure the protocol surrounding controlled entry into Jamaica at our airports. This will allow us to more efficiently utilize our limited resources for testing and surveillance, both for ports and intra-island at our health centers and other health facilities. So all arriving passengers would still be subject to a health screening and risk assessment on arrival at the port of entry. Visitors to Jamaica from areas declared as high risk at this time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, so areas such as Florida, New York, Arizona, and Texas, those are considered now high risk. So persons registering to visit Jamaica on the Visit Jamaica website, coming from these areas, as of July 1, will be required to upload a valid PCR test, which must be no more than 7 days old from the expected date of their arrival. Now, approval for travel to Jamaica on the Visit Jamaica website will be subject to the upload of this valid PCR test. As of July 10, persons visiting Jamaica, that is a non-resident visiting Jamaica from the declared high-risk areas, will be required to present their PCR test.
The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is providing assistance to the nation's homeless as the country combats COVID-19. More than 28,400 meals have been distributed under a special street people feeding program. 3,200 and counting care packages have been provided to assist the homeless with their hygienic needs. Drop-in centers continue to be spaces of comfort and refuge. Since the establishment of a shelter for the homeless in Kingston, more than 500 visits have been made to the facility. So far, at least 20,000 homeless people have benefited from these interventions. In the fight against COVID-19, the homeless are not being left behind.
Jamaica has reopened its borders to international travelers. At one of the major terminals, the Kingston International Airport, several new measures have been implemented to combat the spread of COVID-19. Take a look.
As an airport, safety and security always our number one priority. And since this COVID-19 pandemic came to fruition, we have been putting in place a lot of measures to protect our staff, to keep them safe. Installation of plexiglass barriers at our check-in counters, our gate counters, baggage service desks, and in the ground transportation hall. We also have automatic hand sanitizers throughout the airport terminal at the entry and exit of each processing point. We have also put in place decals on the ground to assist with social distancing. That same message about mandatory use of masks, the social distancing, hand washing. Really want to enforce best practices for the traveling public and for the airport community as well. The biggest challenge, and it has always been for MBJs, that all our flights come in during the peak. Of course, Montego Bay is the gateway to tourism here in Jamaica. So our challenge will be to handle all the passengers within the peak. But there are lots of measures and coordination with government agencies to ensure that the journey is as seamless as possible. For immigration and customs, of course, they have taken their own measures. They also have plexiglass screens at their desks, and also markers and decals in the queues for social distancing. There are a lot of advances that are happening and are already started in immigration. We encourage our passengers to take advantage of the technology there, and that will reduce the processing time here at the airport. The key thing for the traveling public is to get as much information as you can from the relevant sources. Visit Jamaica.com for those who are tourists and visitors to Jamaica. You want to be here 3 hours before your flight. There may be some extra steps. We'll try to make it as seamless as possible. This pandemic has shown us that no one entity can pull off an operation like this. We are working very closely with the Ministry of Health. They have a very large contingent here, and the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Transport as well. So it is a collaborative effort. The key thing would have been global standards for travel under this pandemic. As you know, those do not yet exist. Jamaica has taken a bold step forward and has implemented its own measures. The world is watching, and we hope that it will be a success.
Jamaica's penal institutions have embarked on a number of initiatives to reform and upskill convicts. Currently, inmates are engaged in farming to help offset the country's food bill. Take a look.
The Grow What You Eat What You Grow mantra has been gaining momentum within the Department of Correctional Services DCS. At both juvenile and adult correctional facilities, there have been increased production of agricultural produce and the rearing of chickens and other farm animals. This in an effort to make the DCS become self-sufficient in food production for inmates. We visited the Tamarind Farm Adult Correctional Center, where 2 new broiler units are being constructed to house approximately 9,000 chickens. This is facilitated through a public-private partnership with Nutrimix Feeds, where approximately 6 flocks of chicken will be produced each year. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the partnership is important to the DCS achieving its food security objective.
The fact is, we're clear that we need to improve nutrition for our inmates while reducing long-term costs on the taxpayer. So this is the result of those 2 objectives coming together as one.
In addition to broiler units, a tractor was handed over to the Department of Correctional Services and will be used to cultivate several acres of lands across all adult facilities.
On average, we have about 70 acres that we could certainly put our tractor to good use. Level land that we will get into production of sorrel, our pumpkin, our callaloo, and other items. As we farm what we utilize within our inmate population.
With this tractor, it signifies to the country that we're taking our capacity to feed ourselves more seriously.
The tractor was purchased at a cost of 11 million Jamaican dollars. Technical support on the proper use and maintenance of the vehicle will be provided by Kingston Industrial Agencies Limited to correctional officers and inmates.
We have a lot of confidence that this will be an excellent unit for the prisons to use in cultivation. It is a general cultivation tractor and can use plows, harrows, and all sorts of different implements to effect the quality growing and efficient growing of produce of all kinds.
This will create efficiencies, this will add security, and this will drive down costs for provision of food for our inmates.
According to Minister Samuda, the construction of the broiler units and the tractor to assist with cultivation are also part of the skills training rehabilitation process.
At the end of the day, we don't want to turn people out in the same state or worse than they would have entered our facilities. So this will serve to train persons as to the appropriate measures for raising chickens. It will teach them how to properly move it from farming to a business, because they'll learn how to well, not dispose of them, I guess, kill them and properly clean them, etc. for consumption. So this is, I think, is a major step in the right direction, and it's an example that when we come together in the public and the private sector, what can be achieved, because this will go to the benefit of the entire prison system, and we're very happy about that.
With that encouragement, the Department of Correctional Services continues to move closer towards being self-sufficient in food production.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Give yourself a fighting chance. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
Now, more than before, you must maintain a healthy diet. Regular intake of fluids and vitamin C help to ward off viruses and illnesses. Here's some more information to help you stay healthy.
The novel coronavirus 2019 or COVID-19 is a respiratory illness that may present with a fever, dry cough, and tiredness. Persons may experience more severe symptoms such as shortness of breath and difficulty breathing. One of the best ways to fight this disease is by boosting your body's immune system. Giving yourself a healthy head start could be the difference between life and death. As we look at how we can stave off or reduce the effects of COVID-19 and other respiratory illnesses like this disease, we have compiled a list of ways to optimize the functioning of our immune system. First things first, get regular rest. Sleeping between 6 to 8 hours helps improve the body's immune function, mental health, and regulate weight while increasing productivity. Next up, exercise. Physical activity improves one's mood while increasing energy levels in the body. Managing stress is another weapon against sickness. When we are anxious, the body's disease-fighting defenses are reduced. Keep hydrated. Yes, the body doesn't function properly when it doesn't have enough fluids. You may maintain adequate water levels in your body by consuming water, fruits and vegetables with high water content, as well as soup. If you suffer from any health condition, be on top of your medication and stick to the management plan that's been decided on with your doctor. Another tip, you are what you eat. If you consume too much alcohol, sugary drinks, and processed foods, the body's defenses will lack the right micro and macronutrients to function properly. That's why it's absolutely important that we have a balanced diet. Incorporating items from all the food groups allow the body to glow, grow, and go. There are some foods, however, that are rich in vitamins and minerals which help to power up the body's natural immunity. Noted for its immune-boosting qualities, foods rich in vitamin C help the body produce white blood cells, which ward off or shorten the length of infections. Citrus fruits such as oranges, lemons, tangerines, lime, and grapefruit are rich in vitamin C. But even richer in the vitamin are cherries and red sweet pepper. Local fruits and vegetables such as Otaiti apple, guava, pineapple, papaya, June plum, soursop, cauliflower, cabbage, and Irish potato are also rich in vitamin C. As an antioxidant, vitamin E helps to prevent cell damage and regulate the function of one's immune system. Pear, peanut, olive oil, and almonds are among the foods with high vitamin E content. Foods with anti-inflammatory properties help treat respiratory illnesses, so it's best to add cinnamon, tomato, ginger, turmeric, flaxseed, strawberry, and garlic to your diet. Vitamin A is a key ingredient in the body's infection-fighting arsenal, as it helps with vision, repair, growth, and reproduction. In addition to spinach and kale, foods such as carrots, mangoes, pumpkin, sweet potato, and cantaloupe are rich in vitamin A. Another immuno-boosting vitamin can be found in milk, egg, cheese, tofu, yogurt, and fortified cereals, vitamin D. The vitamin is also present in fish such as tin mackerel, tuna, sardine, and salmon. B vitamins are a critical part of the body's red blood cell production. They help to convert food into energy while maintaining healthy body tissues. Banana, sunflower seeds, watermelon, chicken, turkey, goat meat, liver, and red peas are rich in vitamin B. Zinc allows our body's immune cells to function properly while reducing inflammation. Foods rich in zinc include shellfish such as crab, lobster, and mussels. Zinc is also present in peas and beans, nuts, seeds, as well as dark meat including beef and pork. Practicing proper personal hygiene is also an important part of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. That includes regular hand washing and the use of hand sanitizer if water and soap is not available. Sneeze or cough into your elbow or cover with tissue that should be discarded in a bin. Avoid touching your mouth, eyes, or nose. And be sure to practice social distancing. You are your first line of defense against COVID-19. For your health's sake, start practicing good healthy habits today.
How would you want to be treated if you were diagnosed with COVID-19? Not like this.
Them will talk how I'm wicked and if dead, and they behave like I am the one that created the virus. All my friends as well that were positive, them going through even worse than what I'm going through. Persons are calling police on them as well.
Do not allow your fear of COVID-19 to rob you of your humanity. There is no need to shun or victimize persons with the disease or those on the front line.
To mistreat persons that do have it, it's not a good feeling. We don't cause this on ourselves.
We really need to cut the hate and work together as a country, as communities, to overcome.
Let us be understanding with those affected and support each other. Be kind. End the stigma.
The show has come to an end, but only on your television screen. Join us online on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube for more features on a variety of issues. Then again tomorrow at this same time on this same station. We'll have more updates for you. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care and stay healthy.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.